Hey everybody, it's Rob from Rewind Video, and we're here with a mini episode. And Bob, we were recently given some time off from the store.
Yes.
And we got out to the movie theater, and we both got a chance to check out Dune Part 2.
I still have sand in my shoes.
Oh, really? Did you get one of those popcorn buckets?
Yeah. One of those erotic popcorn buckets, yeah.
What'd you think?
Well, I'm going to start us off by reading you my review on Letterboxd of Dune Part 1.
Ooh.
Right? Seems like a good place to...
I mean, 1 comes before 2.
It does. So here's what I said about Part 1. I said 5 stars.
Wow.
I'm ready to mainline more of Villeneuve's Dune right fucking now. And until we get Part 2, I'm going to absorb anything I can get my hands on. Feed me the Dune Happy Meal, put me on the ride at Disney, get me the Dune sleeping bag and matching pajamas.
Did you get any of those things?
No.
So much for that.
Ask me if I read the books.
Yeah. Did you read the books?
No.
Interesting. Very interesting. So what do you think of Part 2?
I really liked it. I have yet to score it on Letterboxd.
Okay. Still mulling it over.
Still mulling it. I'm like you. I think I'm reluctant to give anything a 5-star review on a first watch, but I did really enjoy this.
You gave the first one 5 stars on the first watch.
Well, I'm a more seasoned film goer.
That's true. Yeah. You've honed your technique.
I have. Yeah.
But yeah, you're a big fan overall?
I enjoyed it. It surprised me. This was a different movie than I expected it to be. You get so many sequels from Hollywood these days that are just looking to redo some of the same things that the first movie did successfully.
Yeah. And
perhaps the fact that this is based very accurately, as far as I know, on the books, Dune 2 is not doing that.
Yeah, this is definitely a part 2. This is not a rehash of the first one, for sure.
No, it's just not. It's not more of the same, but bigger, and more of it.
I felt like the first movie it felt incomplete.
Yeah.
I went into the first movie having seen the David Lynch Dune movie years and years ago. So I barely know anything. Like I barely remember it.
Yes.
I had never read the book, and I went to the first part 1 Dune, basically blind. Yeah. And I really enjoyed it. I felt like there was a lot of potential there.
Yes.
But I could feel the fact that it was only half a story. And it didn't feel like it was telling a complete story. But I felt like there's a lot of ideas, a lot of things percolating. And I did read the book. I went after I saw that movie. I'm like, all right, I want to get into this universe a little bit and see what it's like. So I did read the book, and this part 2 is, I mean, Villeneuve is incredible. He is an amazing filmmaker, and this movie is, I mean, on every level: production value, world building, sound,
oh my God,
visuals. I mean, it is just 5 stars across the board on all those things. This story does not work for me.
Interesting.
And having read the book, I had the same problem with the book.
Okay.
Like, I don't think this is a movie. This is not a movie problem here. This is like, I literally was like 100 pages from the end of the book. I'm like, I don't even care what happens. Really? And I don't know. There's something about this story. Like, I don't care about the different houses or whatever. Like, I have no reason to give a shit who wins. I don't really care what Paul does. Like, I don't know. Something about this story there's something big missing, and like, I'm just not getting it.
Interesting. I did appreciate about this story, and we're talking about the complete story.
Yeah.
The first book, that it does not follow your typical Hollywood tropes in terms of romance or even affection for power and rise to power. It's trailblazing a little bit in that respect, and that was interesting to me. But it's also throwing a lot at the audience. There's a lot to juggle here.
Which I think is one of the things I like about it.
Yeah.
Even reading the book, there were a lot of chapters I was really into. I was like, I want it to be more like this. Mm-hmm. And then it would get into, I just felt like, and I'm speaking mostly about the book here, where it's mostly like mythology about mythology, where everything that's happening in the story is just like about why it's happening. And I never got a sense in the book or these movies really of like why I should care about any of the characters. Like, why do I care about what the Bene Gesserit are doing? Yeah. What are they even trying to do? Why do I care if they get a profit or not? Why do I care if the Harkonnens win or lose? Even like the Atreides are like, they're wiped out completely. I guess I'm supposed to be rooting for them, but then they're all dead. You know what I mean? Yeah, so it's just like, I don't know. I don't know what I'm supposed to be like feeling about any of these people, houses, you know. Even the Fremen are like, it's like, I guess I want them to like get what they want, but like, what do they want? What are they trying to do?
Yeah, you know, it's interesting. I think I found myself, of all the parties to kind of root for, I probably found myself rooting for the Fremen the most of all, because it's like, okay, this is their planet and they deserve to keep it. And it does seem like Paul is at least respectful of that.
But like, it doesn't seem like the Fremen kicking everybody off their planet is ever on the table. Like, it's never an option. It's never. There's never like, oh yeah, we're just gonna like take over our own fucking planet and get rid of everybody else. That never seems to be like it's an option. It's never. No one even ever discusses that.
It doesn't seem like it's an option, because I think technically it can't be an option, because I interpreted this as Dune is the only place where you can get this spice, and the spice is essential to intergalactic travel. So whether they want it or not, there will always be somebody here to mine the spice.
Yes. I don't know. I wanted to love this movie.
Yeah.
So much. Like, I was ready. I was like, you know what? Fuck the book. Like, I'm ready. Like, I know that Villeneuve is like a master, and I know that he can tell a story. And so I was like, you know what? He's going to get this right.
Yeah.
He's going to take the story that I'm not fully into, and I really felt like he was going to do something with it that I connected with, and I just didn't.
I've heard this compared to Two Towers, Lord of the Rings, in the sense that, you know, it's all leading up toward a very important and significant battle. And knowing that, I definitely found myself in the theater while watching this thinking, I'm not here for a big battle. Like, I like the smaller, more personal moments in this story that's being told, and you know, the battle is fun to watch, and Villeneuve does it incredibly well with massive spectacle. But you know, that's not why I bought my ticket.
That reminds me of like Game of Thrones, where you know, my favorite Game of Thrones episodes or moments were generally like people having conversations in rooms. You know, and there were a lot of great action scenes and battles, but some of the best parts of that show are just like people talking about shit. I mean, so I'm okay with that mythology being like the movie, the show, or whatever it is.
Yeah.
But I don't know. They didn't sell me on why I should care about what happens.
I can understand that. I can understand a point of view. I do think I cared more about these interested parties than you did.
I'm definitely in the minority. I mean, people fucking love this movie.
Yeah.
It's just like this. But I had the same reaction to Lord of the Rings. I kind of like the same, like Lord of the Rings movies. I'm like, yeah, this could have been like one movie. Like, it's like an hour and a half. Like there's a lot of walking. You know, like, but I also like, again, same thing. Like, I don't know why I should give a shit what happens to the elves or the whatever. Like all these different races of whatever. I'm like, I just don't know why I'm supposed to care. Even the ring thing, it's like, yeah, some guy made 5 rings and then they made one more. It's like, why don't you just make another one? Like, I don't know,
Right.
make that one to control that. I don't know. They never told you what the rings were doing. But again, I read that book too. I think Lord of the Rings might have been the first book I stopped reading.
Oh, really?
You know, because when you're a kid, you're like, every book's amazing, every movie's amazing. You don't even think that there's something that you wouldn't like.
Yeah.
I think Lord of the Rings is the first book I got like 100 pages in. I'm like, I'm not finishing this. I'm like, I don't like this.
Right. Interesting. I'm curious what you thought about Austin Butler's character, Fade Rotha.
Yeah.
Nah.
I mean, and this is actually where the book lost me on this character, because it was like this whole like thing in the book. It's like they really get into it. I mean, it's like 100 pages, and like it doesn't, and it's just like, what are they even trying to do here? And in the movie, it's quick.
Yeah.
You know, they bring this guy in pretty quick, and what it comes across to me as like we just traded out one bald psychopath for a different bald psychopath.
Right.
And then like I didn't feel like we gained anything from that trade. It's like, oh, this guy's crazy, but now he's gone, and now we got a different bald psychopath, and now it's different.
Yeah, recently, we've had a discussion on an episode of the podcast about when movies are better served by being a 2-hour film or perhaps a series. And I can't help but to wonder if, given more time to develop relationships with these families and what's going on, you might have felt differently. Not that, I mean, like I don't know. The material is either there or it's not. And it doesn't sound like it was even there for you in the book.
Not for me, yeah. I mean, like even the Emperor character, Christopher Walken and his daughter.
Yeah.
You know, like even in the book, I'm like, what does this guy want? What is even the point of this character? And in the book, like, you spend a lot of time with these characters,
right.
You know, like it's so like in a movie you can be like, okay, yeah, like you only had 2 hours to tell the story, and so like I understand why that you didn't get the full characterization. But for me, like reading the book, I'm like, why is any of this happening?
Yeah,
you know. So like I think this is just one of those stories. Like for me, there's a lot of things that just didn't work.
Would it be safe to say that if given the opportunity to score this in 2 different ways, one for story and one for the craft of filmmaking, this would probably have 2 very different ratings for you?
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know that there's somebody that could make the Dune movie that I want to see.
Yeah, I don't know that there's somebody who could make a better Dune movie.
Yeah.
But you have to be on board with wanting a Dune movie in the first place, and it sounds like that's not.
I wanted to want a Dune movie. You know, I went into the first movie like, let's fucking do this. You know.
Yeah.
And it didn't quite work for me, but I'm like, you know what? I think this is still for me. So I read the books, and like I didn't like the book. I'm like, you know what? I still think part 2 is gonna do it for me. And I went into part 2, and like it just didn't. So I'm like, you know what? This isn't for me. You know, and I think it's a Lord of the Rings thing. It's too heightened for me. It doesn't seem like it takes place in reality.
You know, one thing that I think worked about Game of Thrones when it comes to stories about families having differences and, you need to root for one or the other, is that for all intents and purposes, these families are all people in the way that we're people, and we can relate to them in that respect. And the alien element to the Dune series gives audiences a lot to just juggle, because like the Harkonnens especially, I think, have like, I don't know, there's a mythology to them that...
There's a mythology and a politics. Like there's a politics to everything that happens in the story, but I think the way the Game of Thrones deals with it, as opposed to Dune and Lord of the Rings, is that Game of Thrones is like, politics is very human. But for these other stories, for Lord of the Rings and Dune, they're like, no, we're going to keep it at the level of politics.
Right.
Whereas Game of Thrones brings politics down to the level of people.
Yeah.
And there's something in that. Split there that like doesn't connect with me, and so we get to the end of Dune. I'm like, I don't care who wins. Like I literally don't care who lives and who dies.
So it sounds like we're probably going to get a third Dune.
I hope we do. I hope they keep making them.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like it's going to be based on Dune Messiah, and I've done some reading up on what's happening in that book, and that book sounds like it gets fucking bananas.
Well, I won't be reading the books. One was enough for me, but I will see the third movie.
Well, while I mentioned that I haven't yet given this a rating, I think that the only thing that will keep this from being a 5-star movie for me is the element of that giant battle at the end, which I didn't need. I would have traded that for more time with the characters and more understanding of the politics of this entire story, and the sand riding scene, which, according to Villeneuve himself, includes his favorite shot of both movies, which is Paul kind of standing up for the first time on the sandworm.
It's a great sequence.
It's a great sequence, but it again just felt like it was taking me away from more of what I wanted.
Yeah.
But I still love this. I can't wait to watch it again. Absolutely one of those movies that if you're going to see it, you deserve to see it on the biggest screen possible with the best theater
very
experience.
loud sound.
Yeah, very loud sound. Yeah.
It's I recommend it. This movie didn't completely work for me, but I mean, you'd be crazy not to go out and see this when you have the chance.
Yeah. I mean, it's there's just a lot of technical wizardry here that's pretty impressive. For instance, the Fade Rotha scene where he's in the Colosseum doing battle with some of the last remaining Atreides survivors was, I believe, all shot on infrared in order to achieve that black and white effect. Yeah, it's just a beautiful movie. I mean, all of his films are.
Yeah. I think that's a wrap. Do you have anything else you want to throw in there?
No. I'm hoping that Villeneuve does something else before he does another Dune movie, just because I love Sicario. Yeah, it's one of my favorite films that he's made.
And I'm a huge Arrival is one of my favorite movies of all time.
Right. So
I hope he throws something else in there.
Yeah, that'd be fun to see. But who knows? He's obviously passionate about this series, so who knows if in 2 years we get another Dune.
Well, get out there and see it if you haven't already. We recommend it.
We do.
And we'll see you next time. Hail Satan.